Wow, I made so many mistakes when I first started out in tattoo industry. Listen, I didn't use fake skin. I jumped straight onto people. I was in an unsafe environment. I was lucky that nobody got an infection. I've never given anybody an infection to this day, but there's so much that I did wrong when I first started. And I want to cover a few of those things so you don't make the same mistakes that I did, because it cost me a lot of time, a lot of effort, and essentially a lot of money, because the first few years, anybody that's familiar with my story knows how hard I had it. The amount of times that I nearly lost my shop, almost gave in, hooked the machines up and just thought, look, this is not the career for me. And it's because I didn't do things in the right order when I first started. So I'm hoping by the end of this video, if I tell you a bit about what I did wrong and how I think if I were to go back to day one, how I would approach it this time round, you can save years of heartache, a ton of problems, and progress a lot faster than what I did. We've got 7 key mistakes that I want to get through in this video that I learned over 16 years of tattooing. And seriously, if you don't avoid these mistakes, you're gonna really hurt somebody or potentially just ruin your career before it even starts. So let's start with number 1. Avoid tattooing people whilst you're learning. We should be using artificial skin. It's purposely designed to learn how to tattoo. Ignore fruit, ignore, oh, I'm gonna tattoo my own leg. That's stupid, all right? There's specific things designed to learn how to tattoo that were purposely built for that exact thing. Let's not be stupid. Use the things that are actually there for the job. It makes your life so much easier. And the most important thing, it's not gonna get an infection, you can't hurt it, you can't do anything wrong. You're not classed as a scratcher, trashing the industry, because you're doing it safely from the comfort of your own home, if that's where you're learning, or in a studio. Same applies. You would never walk into a studio for an apprenticeship and day one, they say, right, we're gonna teach you this. Let's go pull somebody in off street and you can just practice on them. All right, it's a stupid thought. It's, I don't even admit this. It's what I did. All right, I just tattooed my mate. First time I'd ever even done anything. Stupid thing to do. And if I could turn back the clock, I would have never have done it. But I did. I learned the lesson. Hopefully you guys don't have to learn that same lesson. Use artificial mats. But just because we're on artificial mats doesn't mean that we've got to skip the hygiene lessons entirely. Which brings me on to point number 2. Why do people completely forget or ignore hygiene when learning? This is so important. Look, even when we're tattooing fake skin, we've got to pretend that that is a real person. Wrapping his machine or cleaning the machine after, using sterile equipment, wrapping all the area, making it as realistic as possible. So there's ways of doing things to make the mats curved, but we never sacrifice putting gloves on. All right, even when tattooing mats, one, it's gonna keep your hands clean. Yeah, but I fully understand, we can't give the mat an infection, but it's just to get into the habits of doing things in a safe manner. Listen, do not get lazy when it comes to hygiene. And talking about lazy, that brings me on to my next point, procrastination. So many people never start or stop learning or slow themselves down because the mind is so fixated on thinking of problems. I can't do it because of this, comparing my work to everybody else's. I'm progressing at a slightly slower rate than everybody else on the course. There's so many things that prevent somebody or slows them down and makes them become lazy, all right? They just stop altogether. Don't let your own brain slow you down. Start doing rather than just thinking. Analogy I like to use is, look, you can read a book, you can follow an online course, you can watch on TV somebody swimming all day long, every day for a year. You are never going to be able to swim until you jump in the water and take that first step. And a lot of people do take that first step. They buy all the kit, the machine, the needles, the inks, and then this is what they do. They have it for a day and think, oh, I know, I want a better machine. I know, I want the blacker than black inks. Which leads me on to my next point. You don't need a ton of equipment. Listen, it's not about the brand of machine that you're using. Mine runs at 3.4 hertz, right? It's not about that. I spent X amount on my machine. My machine's bigger and better than yours. My machine costs more than... Listen, a good artist will pick up any machine, any inks, any needles, and be able to do a really good tattoo, especially early on whilst you're learning. As long as you've got a decent machine, don't have to be anything fancy, it just needs to be a good solid machine from a reputable brand. That's it. Your needles, the exact same. Decent needles from a reputable brand. That is it. Ink's the exact same. You get the principle. We don't need a lot. For some reason, when people are learning, they get so fixated on the equipment, thinking, I need the best equipment because I'm going to be able to learn quicker. I'm going to be a better artist if I've got a better machine. It's never the case, which leads me on to my next point. Time with the machine, time doing the drills. It's not something that we can rush. Right? If you're not prepared, if you think this is just a quick fix, a get rich quick thing, you're never gonna succeed as an artist. You have got to put in the time and effort needed. You've got to hammer the line work drills, the joining lines, the curved lines, the shading, the getting used to round shaders, getting used to mags. Listen, we're not children anymore. My kids do this when we're at MMA training. Dad, I've learned the triangle choke. I've done it once. I'm a pro at it now. We tell kids, don't we? Look, you've got to drill it again and again and again until you really understand it. But for some reason, when we're learning how to tattoo, we totally forget about that principle. Well, I've done line drill now, I want to do alt designs. You can never be that good at something that you need to stop learning or trying to improve it. And that's why number 5 and 6 are almost like interlinked. You shouldn't be jumping into complicated designs. Do designs that are gonna... Quick message to everybody that signed up to the membership program. Without all of you guys, this channel just would not be possible at all. So thank you. And we've got so many big plans for the future. So if you want to become a part of it and help the channel grow, and also get 2 exclusive follow along tattoo lessons every single week, plus a load more cool free stuff just chucked in there willy-nilly. It's just $14.99 a month, thereabouts, for literally as long or as little as you want. Check the link in the description. Thank you. You shouldn't be jumping into complicated designs. Do designs that are going to benefit the stage, the phase of learning that you're currently in. If you're right at the beginning, you shouldn't be even thinking about doing the complicated stuff because it is not going to benefit you. All it's going to do is create bad habits and slow your progress down. We need to be doing things that's purposely hand-picked to develop the skills that you've already acquired, to make you better at that thing. Once you are better, then we can slowly increase the design complexity to start learning and understanding and developing the skills that you've got even further. Don't rush the process. And finally, the last point I want to think, for love of God, just follow some sort of structure. And I've said this in numerous videos, and it just makes sense, doesn't it? Think back to anything that we ever learn throughout school, colleges, university, any online courses, whatever it may be, we'll learn in a progressive structure. Think about learning how to walk. You don't just jump up and start running about. We wobble, then we can walk. If you want to break it down first, we don't even start with a wobble. We usually climb up and just hold on to something in stood up phase, don't we, as babies. We then start walking assisted. We then start taking his first steps. Anybody with kids, what a proud moment it is when you see your kid take that first step and you're like, fucking hell, they're getting it, wow. Usually we try and capture it on video. Exact same thing goes with learning. Look, we've always learned in a particular way, in order from super simple and easy to complicated. When you're learning how to tattoo and you're jumping around on YouTube, or you're in a rubbish apprenticeship that's not working, that's just, oh, we'll do this today, right, tomorrow we'll do something totally different. It's just slowing your progress down. Following something that's got an exact curriculum that, right, today we're gonna learn this. Tomorrow, we're gonna learn this, and this is the reason why, because it follows on from what we've already learned. Then again, the next day, and so on. You've got to do things in a progressive manner so it speeds everything up and you learn at the correct pace and in the correct order. Hopefully you found this video useful and ideally learned something along the way. If you did enjoy it, listen, I've got tons of videos covering all sorts of different topics around the tattoo industry, running the business, marketing for artists, and the progressive learning. This is how you do this, that's how you do that. So if you enjoyed the video, please jump on the channel, go check out the rest. Something might just spark your curiosity, and hopefully you enjoyed it. But as always, thank you for watching. That's the biggest thing that I want to get across. I appreciate every single person that clicks on, and that's the reason why we made this channel in the first place. Listen, we want to make learning how to tattoo accessible to anybody that wants to learn. So if that's you, you're in the right place. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.